comes out with fire. He comes out.
Fire.
He's got a lot of
Yelling, "This is
personality.
my house." How good is that for this sport?
It's great.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So about 1 year back, Steve Weinberger, the head judge at the Olympia, he gave an interview to Fawad, in which there was a question whether Nick Walker can ever win the Olympia or not. And Steve Weinberger said that Nick Walker is gonna have a very difficult time, especially against the top guys. So how fast and quickly Nick Walker has been able to turn things around. That the same head judge, after watching him at the Pittsburgh Pro and also at the New York Pro, he has also started to believe that Nick has proved to us all that he can win the Olympia title. And maybe that can happen this year.
Whether he can or cannot ever win the Olympia,
Well, I think
what his
last
ceiling
week he
is.
proved that he can.
Right.
You know what I mean? Condition and shape has changed. He's controlling his stomach. I honestly think when he first came out in Pittsburgh, he looked awesome. Last week in Pittsburgh at the beginning was his all-time best.
Now Nick has got a great inspirational story to tell here, as he's the one who is the odd man out. He doesn't pull vacuums like all the other top 3 guys, namely Derek, Hadi and Samson. He isn't among the aesthetic physiques. He doesn't have what we call a pretty physique, but with his immense muscularity, his insane freak factor, and combine that with his top-notch conditioning, he's making all the people believe in this possibility that he's one of the biggest Olympia contenders, especially for this year. Now we know he could have easily done the upcoming California Pro, which is now 4 days away, to grab another pro win and another paycheck. But in Nick's mind, every day, every week, that is very important to make some more improvements and come back even more formidable at the Olympia this year. And also we have to keep in mind, he's coming back to the Olympia stage after a gap of 2 years. So other than those moments when Nick wasn't controlling his midsection, especially at the Pittsburgh Pro against Derek, there were all positive feedbacks by everyone, the judges, the fans, almost all the bodybuilding experts, the legends of the game. They all appreciated Nick Walker a lot. So the legs from the front, they improved. The waist control, especially when he is in the pose, that was top notch. And that, I must say, improved even more at the New York Pro. So the back, that turned out to be one of the best backs in the entire pro league right now. And honestly, I must say, Derek was very lucky that it was Nick Walker who faded as the show went on, especially at the finals. Otherwise, Nick would have beaten him. Now, in the eyes of every bodybuilding expert, well, if not everyone, almost 90% of the people out there, they had Nick beating Derek. And the major factor here, that was Derek's legs, and how they did not look as big or as good as they did at the Arnold, Ohio. So from getting all that major criticism and all that backlash for skipping the Olympia last year, to now getting such incredible support from the fans, from almost everyone, and turning around the opinion of the head judge that he can in fact win the Olympia. That's one hell of a storyline that Nick Walker is writing, and he isn't done just yet. So how many of you guys think that Nick has a very strong chance of winning the Olympia this year? So Michael Krizo was spotted training quads today, and as always looking like a monster while in the gym. And we know that has always been the case with Krizo. He looks so damn amazing while in the gym, in that tank top. So what's next for Michael Krizo? I think he might jump into this upcoming Emperor Classic Spain, which is scheduled less than 4 weeks from now. So this is a show that Krizo has won before, and that was one of the best looks of his entire pro career. And although Krizo hasn't been able to qualify for the Olympia in both the shows that he has done so far, but this has been a very great comeback by him and also George Farrell, especially coming back with such an impressive physique after that shoulder injury, which we all know can be career threatening. And the only guys who beat him at both these shows, they were all top Olympians. And the fact is, he never said that he's coming into both these shows to win. This was just to test the waters. First of all, because of a new coach. And second of all, in terms of where his physique is at after that shoulder injury. So, as far as his expectations are concerned, they have always been very realistic. And before this show, especially the Pittsburgh Pro, he said he wanted to be in the top 6. And he did achieve that. So if he jumps into this upcoming Emperor Classic Spain, that will give him a great opportunity to earn his Olympia spot and then try everything possible to get that shoulder mobility back to where it was before the injury, because those back shots, they are kind of hurting him a lot, even though the man was peeled out of his mind in both the back shots. So credit must be given to George Farrell, his coach, for picking him perfectly in 2 back-to-back shows, and that too on their first time together. Next up, we have an update from the German bodybuilding legend, Dennis Wolf. So his current physique, at the age of 46, that is like the most desirable physique that most of the guys want. I mean, the man is very lean, very muscular, with those beautiful lines. And Wolf being retired from professional bodybuilding for almost a decade now, but still maintaining that kind of physique, staying so shredded, that just goes to show us that is still very strict in terms of his diet, and the man still lives that bodybuilding lifestyle. So Dennis Wolf actually tried to make a comeback after that neck and back injury back in 2018 at the Arnold Classic. But he was just a shadow of his former self, especially in terms of his upper half. His legs, they look pretty awesome, very detailed, very separated. But the thickness, especially in that upper body, more specifically in the back, that just wasn't there. It was very shallow. And he must think now that he made such a great call about stepping away from the sport and hanging up the posing trunks, rather than putting his body through all that stress and all that risk, trying to regain all his size that he used to have in his prime. So this comparison of him hitting that most muscular shot when he was in his prime versus now, today, that kind of gives you an idea of how massive and huge Dennis Wolf was when he was competing against the likes of Phil Heath and Kai Green, and he was kind of unlucky that he was at the peak of his game in the era of Phil Heath and Kai Green. And even then, he was a strong contender at the Olympia level, so he had that superb structure, although he had high lats, but they were very wide, and he had a very small waistline, those great sweeping quads, plus that amazing separation in them. So the question is why he did not place higher than third at the Olympia level. Again, I'm gonna say he was unlucky to have battled it out with the prime Phil Heath and Kai Green. So which one is your personal favorite look of Dennis Wolf over the years? So I believe most people will pick his 2007 Olympia look. And I agree, that was a great look, but somehow people kind of forget how crazy big Dennis looked at the Arnold Classic Europe back in 2013. So this is all the physique update that Nathan Disha is giving out at the moment. So this is him at a little over 4 weeks out of this year's Dubai Pro. So will he also jump into the Emperor Classic Spain? Well, he hasn't announced that just yet, but the man is 100% in for this upcoming Dubai Pro. So Nathan has been unable to beat Behrouz Tabani so far, but me personally, I keep going back to his Italy Pro look from last year. Man, Nathan was hard as nails and big as a house in that shoe. And if only Nathan can bring that same level of fullness with a more streamlined waist, he can be very dangerous, because those obliques, that really made his waist look a bit wider. Especially standing next to a guy like Behrouz Tabani, who we all know has a very small waistline. So Nathan is a true veteran of the sport. He made his Olympia debut way back in 2016. And this is gonna go down as a very unique record, or I'm gonna say a stat, that an IFBB Pro, he earned his Olympia qualification for 5 years in a row, and still he did not step on the Olympia stage in any of those years. Yes, the last time Nathan stepped on the Olympia stage, that was back in 2018, and if I'm not mistaken, he has qualified for the Olympia every single year, except for the year 2020. And I am actually really excited to see Nathan back on the stage in just a few more weeks, because he brings a lot of excitement every single time he's competing. So there is gonna be no slowing down for the reigning Miss Olympia Samson Dawo now. He managed to fight through those 10 weeks of detox and recovery, totally cleaning out his system, getting healthy, and now it is time to apply all the pressure in the world and go balls to the walls, all the way till the Olympia. And we know the man is already big enough, everywhere except one area, the back, and his entire focus, that is gonna be improving that one shot, the back double biceps, and he's gonna try to bring more density in that. So the judges actually had Samson Dawo beating Derek in the rear lat spread at the Olympia last year, and part of the reason was Derek was just way off, and Samson was at his all-time best. And along with that, Samson has to unlock a whole new level in terms of the condition. So that was a clear sign by the judges, given to him at this past Arnold, Ohio, that Samson has to make some drastic improvements in his back and also in his conditioning in order to successfully defend his Olympia title. Now the thing is, the man has got such an unbelievable combination of size and shape. That an in-shape Samson Dawo, a 100% peaked Samson, he's gonna be totally unstoppable. Now the funny thing is that Samson won the Olympia last year, and he still wasn't at his best, and he wasn't the best conditioned guy out there. Hadi Chopin was overall in a bad condition, but Samson had more complete package. So we would all really like to see Samson Dawo maybe 5 to 10 pounds lighter, but peeled to the bone, shredded out of his mind, because even then, he still has the cushion to be the biggest guy on the stage. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.